So let's just go ahead and get started. So hello again, Darrell. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a great honor for us to have such person as you. You're a great example of, as like in my personal opinion, and probably everyone in this room. I hopefully will be as fascinated and as inspired by you as I am right now, because your journey is unique, because you started so young. And like what I actually like about your journey and like I want to learn more about is how you made this transition from having the hobby as just some guy in high school and transmitting it into an actual business. So thank you so much for coming here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out, and I'm excited to do this. So,
okay. Oh, you see, we already have more people joining. We just started. I told you guys. So Darrell, can you just in a couple of words explain how it started, how your journey started? Where are you right now, which is also a kind of unique thing because we usually have Washington speakers, but you're not from Washington. So where you are, who you are, how it all started, and where you are right now with your journey.
Okay, so yeah, Darrell Antone Photography. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, basically, and I went to school. In high school, I took a film photography class. That's how long ago it was. Like there was no digital at that time, so it was a film camera. So I loved everything about it. Just the fact of holding a camera and taking a picture and being the only person that took that one image, and then creating something with it. I just love that whole process. So I had that class. I got hooked in, and then I had another class in college. I think it was like maybe I shouldn't say, but 2003. I had a digital course, and I loved it then. And then I graduated, kind of went through life, just had point and shoot cameras, just whatever. Wasn't really thinking anything of it. And then about 2014, 2015, I got an actual camera and just started taking pictures and kind of, fulfilled that passion that I hadn't really, done in quite some time. And then from there, I started submitting pictures to, there's, some stock photos you can submit pictures to, and you get paid $50, $25 here and there. And then I started getting paid pretty well on that site. So I'm like, well, maybe I can actually start, photographing people. And so I started doing that, and then it just kind of took off from there. So, but yeah, I'm in Dallas, Texas now. Cold, frigid Dallas, Texas, which that sounds crazy to say, but yeah, I've been here since 2008, and I officially started my business in 2015. And I got my LLC and minority-owned business certification also as well. So kind of put that in there to officially, make sure and solidify my business. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell where things are right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for telling us more about you. So let's get into the actual questions, which will be a little harder for you, a little tough, some tough ammunition coming on. So from my understanding, so from what you said, so what worked for you is when deciding what to do in life, you decided to focus on your strengths, which was photography, and your passion, which is also photography. Would you say it's an actual way to go for entrepreneurs, or is there another way?
I would definitely go towards your strengths. Always. I would say kind of what I do, just kind of related to photography, is I would work on my strengths. Like I know that's what I'm good at. I'm good at portraiture. I'm good at taking pictures outside and getting good lighting. But some things I'm not great at, I'm not perfect at, is like natural light. So sometimes I'll go outside and I don't have my lights with me. So I practice and I work on those. And I know that's maybe not my strength. I'm not bad at it. I can make money doing it, but that's something I like to work on. So I would always say, just as an entrepreneur in general, always go towards your strengths. That's kind of to get you solidified and going forward, but always work on your weaknesses so that your weaknesses can become your strengths. And then you're more well-rounded in whatever, arena that you work in. So definitely in that aspect.
I love this advice. How did you work on your weaknesses? So if we're talking about how did you work on them, and how should other entrepreneurs work on them? Maybe some resources, or is it just reading books? So how did you manage it?
Yeah, reading books for sure. YouTube University, definitely. I was on there, and I don't know if anybody from my job is going to see this, but I would be at work. I work in insurance full time, and I do this part time, but I do it so much that it's almost like a full time job. But while I'm at work, I'll have my headphones in, and I'll be listening to podcasts or YouTube videos. I'll have them playing, and I'll just continue to learn. I have books that I take notes in, and that's never going to stop. I always want to keep learning. Things change in the industry, so there's different technology, different techniques that kind of move, and so people kind of like different things. So I want to make sure that I'm well rounded in all those things, and so that's kind of where it's at there. So that's how I work on it. I have to always do that because you can get left behind if you're not. So and that's in anything. So.
What about the idea of learning how to learn? Because I would say, I have a feeling that many students think that, oh, I'm going to college, I'll transfer to university, they'll teach me everything I need to know in order to go into like corporate job that I want or whatever else you want to do in your life. So how do you think, how true is that assumption, and how is it important to learn how to learn? Because it seems like you know how to learn.
This funny thing is I feel like I learn better now than I did when I was in college. Like I wish I would have used some of these techniques I use now when I was in college. So I think I would have done a little bit better. I didn't do bad, but I could have done a little bit better. But yeah, I think hands-on is probably the best, and getting a mentor or being able to shadow, with somebody. I think you get more from that than just the standard learning in school. You got your textbooks and you got your tests and all those things. But I think you really get that real experience when you're actually out in the industry. So if you can, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you're passionate about, try to seek out a mentor or seek out some workshops to give you a little bit more work in that area, because you need the basics and the foundation that you learn in school, but you also need that hands-on and that kind of street knowledge that you get from working with somebody and actually in the industry, getting the ins and outs from an actual mentor. So I definitely recommend that.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. And it's okay. So if coming back to a mentor, it can be like a little bit difficult for us as students to understand importance of it, of course. But the other question is how to find an actual mentor. So the question for you is, did you have one, and how did you find it?
Yeah, I found mine by I was just literally just looking online, and I was searching for workshops here in Dallas, because I always see a lot of photographers do stuff all over the country, and they're these big grand things, and so I just wanted to find something locally. And so there was a couple workshops that had popped up, and there was one that would just happen to be open the very next day. It was a Friday, and I found one open on a Saturday. And so I went to it. It was a business of photography workshop. It wasn't like the typical workshops you go to. You want to go and shoot pictures of models or people, get some actual work. But this one was, leave your cameras at home. We're going to talk about the business of it all. And so I went to that and really enjoyed it. And he is now my mentor. And I actually now own a studio with him. So I have a space with him. So he's been his name is Omar Ramos. If I don't say his name, he's going to kill me. So, yeah, he's been in the industry like over 30 years. He knows the ins and outs and everything. So he's taught me quite a bit, not only just about the business, but just different techniques of shooting as well. So he really helped me kind of round out my techniques and what I do. But more specifically, though, the business of it all and how to kind of work that around, he helped me with that as well. So I just say just kind of search, maybe find groups and different things that you like, and just simply just reach out. I've had a lot of people, I'm not like a huge guy or anything, but I've had a lot of people reach out to me just like on Facebook in my messages, and I mentor them through that, and I review their pictures, or I'll send them stuff, send them links, and I help them out. So I definitely recommend that. Yeah, if you can, just kind of search out whatever it is that you like and find you one, and they'll be able to help you.
Okay, so just going out there, taking like taking a step out of the door, leaving your comfort zone, just finding some meetups where you can find people with similar interests, and just getting connections, getting to know them, and maybe you'll find your luck and have a mentor after.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so so we had several speakers talking about digital marketing recently. So if it's okay, we would like to come back to this topic. How do you incorporate digital marketing in your business strategy? What do you do?
So this is a weird one for me. because I do use digital marketing. I probably don't do it as much as other people do, but kind of for me, it's kind of funny. So on my Instagram and my Facebook page, that's where I'm real prominent. I get every few months it's like they want me to do an ad with them, so they'll actually give me a credit to do an ad. So I'm like, oh fine, I'll use this money for it's free money. I'll use it. I'll set it up and I'll set the demographics of the age range around where I live, people that might be looking for family photos or commercial work or models, whatever. I'll set that up and like there's a credit in there, so I just use that and that's what pays for it. And then I'll get some people hitting my page or my website, and I'll do it that way. So Facebook ads are cool. Me personally, I don't really like them. Like I don't like seeing them. So I figure most people don't like seeing them either. So like if I'm on Instagram or Facebook, I'm like, get off. I hate this. Like, I don't want that. I want to see what I'm looking at. So they're good because there's some people that use them. I get contacts from that as well. But my main thing is I use Google AdWords and Google, what is it? Google, I think it's Google My Store, I believe. I forget what it's called, but there's a couple apps, and I have built up my SEO through them. So my presence online, when people do a Google search, Dallas photographer, I'm going to show up. And so that is really what I spend my money on with that, because that's really what works. Most people aren't going to go to Facebook or Instagram looking for a photographer or looking for, whatever. If there's another industry, an architect, they're not going to go there for that. They're going to go to Google more than likely. So I definitely say, if you're just trying to get your name out there early on, definitely go ahead and use the digital marketing through the social media because it's there and it works. But I would always focus on Google, and there's several apps that you can use to do that. So they send me emails all the time. When there's a holiday coming up, they say, hey, set your thing if you want to say you're open on the holidays, or they looked at my page and said, hey, are you a minority-owned business? This can help you there. So I click that box, and then it's just, we got a whole bunch of different things. So when they do a Google search, and there's a ton of great photographers here in Dallas, but I'm normally in that search when people look me up or look up photography in general. So I would say if you're going to spend money in digital marketing, use it in Google, and you should be good there. As long as your website, if you have one, make sure your SEO is set up. And I'm assuming everybody knows what SEO is, but make sure you have all the words and the tag words and everything that to source people back to your page, and then that'll help you out there. So.
Yeah, thank you for this information. And just in case for somebody, if somebody doesn't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization, basically choosing the right keywords and optimizing your website so that so it would come up in the Google search, in the search result. So, so now that we're talking about kind of connecting to your customers and getting more traffic through your website, can you tell us more about the first client that you had? How it was, how it happened?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think. I don't even remember my very, very first one. So I did a lot of free ones. So I'm trying to think of the first paid one. You know what? Actually, it was and I actually still work with him. He referred me to his aunt who has a business, and I worked with her this past summer. So there's a guy who needed headshots, and so this is before I had a studio. I was kind of branding myself as like a mobile studio, which I still do. And so I have all the lights, I have all the backdrops, anything you need, and I can literally go. I've done this several times now. I've gone to people's homes, and I'll take a shot right there in their living room, right there in front of their front door, whatever it is. I have it set up, and I'll have a headshot and make it look like a studio. And so somebody found me on an app. I'm on a Black-owned business app, and they found me on there. He reached out, and he pretty much booked me on my site without even talking to me first. Just booked me, and I was like, oh, wow, I got my first actual customer, like, wow. And so, but yeah, he reached me that way, and it was a great experience. He loved the pictures, and like I said, this was like 2015, 2016, and he referred me to his aunt who owns a business making like soaps and like lotions. He referred me to her, and I took her shots this past summer. And then I did some B-roll for a commercial as well. So, and that was like 4 years later. Like it's crazy. So how this stuff works. So. But yeah, that was my very first one, and my first paid one. I've had several before that, but my first paid one, I actually felt pretty good about that. So, yeah.
Awesome. What advice would you give to people who are just starting? How to get their first client? What should we do?
I would say the one thing that I see people make a mistake of is kind of jumping in the pool too quick, especially in photography. Like it's kind of a joke with photographers. Like after Christmas, a lot of people get, DSLR cameras or whatever, and then all of a sudden people are like, hey, I take photos, I do photos, and I'm making logos and websites, and you literally have not even taken a shot yet. So I think some people just have to make sure and go outside of your friends and family who can tend to be yes men at times. Make sure whatever your business is, whatever you're selling, go outside of your bubble and kind of see and get a feel for how things are looking, and make sure that you're on point with your business. So it's better to kind of stall that out a little bit and get things corrected rather than jumping in too quick and then ruining your name, from the start. So I would definitely say take your time and pace yourself, especially in photography or any type of art type of work. Pace yourself and make sure that you're doing everything the best way that you can. And then when you're solidified, then you're ready to actually make money. Then go out there and start your business and kind of brand yourself or do whatever. It can take a year. It can take 6 months. It can take 2-3 years. It just depends. But make sure that you have your business on point first before doing ads on Instagram or Facebook and embarrassing yourself in the long run. So I definitely say take your time and pace yourself with that.
Okay, thank you. I really like the advice. And the question that's actually one of my personal favorite questions that I try to ask every speaker that we have is that besides like just making money, what is the reason? Why did you start a business, and why did you start the business?
So I started really because of my son. My son was born in 2015, and I found out actually right around my birthday in 2014, like towards the end of the year. And I was like, I gotta have something. Like I can't just use my cell phone. I gotta have, because your cell phone, your phone can die, you lose all these pictures. I'd rather have something more, solidified. And I look back, and my dad had cameras, and my uncle had cameras, and I love the art of it at all. So I was like, let me get back into this. So that's really what got me started. And I mean, a lot of times I'm taking pictures just for fun, like or to get, I'll try to see if I can get them published or whatever. So a lot of those things don't always make you money. It's really just the fun and the passion of it. I just really love the art of photography. So it's definitely more than making money, because I feel like I probably could make more if I actually kind of focus more on making money. But I really do it for fun, and that's why it's a part-time job. But like I say, and I've been told to not say part-time, I say it's full-time, because I put full effort into it. And like I tell everybody, I give my wife and my son all my time, and then when they go to bed, it's work time on this job. So I'm up all hours of the night, editing photos, working on my SEOs, all kind of stuff like that. So that's I don't know. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just the art of it all. So money's cool. If you can make money, that's great. But I just love taking pictures. I'll take pictures of anything. So.
Do you think that how important it is to have a reason behind your business? Because that's something that I tend to hear a lot from those motivational speakers, entrepreneurs that are there teaching people, and just many other people, Simon Sinek, Robert Kiyosaki. I can name a ton of them, but everybody's saying that if you don't have a reason, you will not find inspiration, and the business will not go as you plan it to be. How much do you agree with them? Why do you think that there should be a greater reason than just making money for a business?
Yeah. Especially in this industry, I think photography is very important. It doesn't always seem, it's not always the first thing on people's list, but when it comes to taking pictures at a wedding, for example, and you have an aunt that passed, you got a dad that passed or something like that, and these are the last photos you have. Like I did a shoot a couple years ago, and I sent off all the images to the bride, and I guess they lost the book that I made them and everything. They lost it, and so I had a link for all the pictures, and I kind of saved them there, and I sent it to them, free of charge. Like, hey, here's the pictures, because they had lost somebody. So I think when people really think about it, these images mean a lot more than just a couple of pictures that you paid for one year. These are stuff that lasts for lifetimes, especially if you get them printed and things like that. So that's always, I think, the deepest meaning behind it. My main thing is always telling everybody there's something beautiful in everybody, regardless of how you look. There's always something beautiful in that person. So I think with that, showing people that, and then also knowing that we can take pictures that will, make somebody smile about somebody that might have, moved on and passed on. I think that's really the bigger meaning behind it all. So.
Oh, Darrell, you're making me blush. There is always something beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. I needed that. so, um, so what do you think just a question, maybe a little bit outside the point, but I think it's still relevant. What do you think in general? Maybe somebody wants to go into photography too. What do you think about the industry as it is right now?
The industry, I think it's in a good place. I think that there is, as far as what I've been seeing, there's a big mashup about, for example, I'll tell you now. So there's a couple of magazine covers that have been put out. One of Kamala Harris and one that I just saw today of Megan Thee Stallion, which I can't believe I'm talking about them on this video, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So there's been an issue where there's been some photographers that do really great work, but these big time publications are reaching out to them and they're taking pictures that don't present the people on the cover in the best light. So there's a new picture that just came out today. You guys can look it up later, of Bazaar magazine. It's got Megan Thee Stallion on it, and it literally, like, we were joking around in the photography group that I'm in. It literally looks like a test shot. Like, when you go in and you're taking photos, you kind of take a couple shots, not telling the model to pose. You're just taking shots, and you're just kind of getting ready, make sure the lighting is right. So this one, she's like kind of leaning back, and it literally looks like she's like kind of mid-pause back there. And there's hair kind of off to the side. Then it just looks really odd. And now it's like out there and it's on the cover of Bazaar magazine. Like, this is not some little magazine. And so in the industry, there's a big kind of a mashup of people that are like, not me for myself, but people like, I could have done this better than that, or why would they even put this on the cover? They could have done a lot better than this. Like, they're known for having great images on their covers. So there's almost a thing of some images being watered down because the person has a high name and they're not using their greatest work, and it's almost putting the celebrity, whoever's on the coverage, on the cover, like in a bad light. And so I don't know. That's really the only thing that I've been seeing. Other than that, it's a really close knit community. I know a lot of, like I said, Dallas has a lot of great photographers here, so we all support each other when everybody is doing something, has a workshop or somebody gets published somewhere, somebody is notified, getting some kind of praise in some magazine or something. So I would say if somebody's getting into photography, I definitely would look on Facebook or some kind of a group that you can kind of get in and sponge off of some of the more veteran photographers, and kind of start there, and then just kind of learn from them, and kind of go get a second shooter. I have a couple times where I've been the main shooter of a shoot, and I'll ask somebody who's learning to come in here and just kind of help me out, hold my lights or get me a lens, and then they kind of learn how to shoot from that experience. So if you're just starting off, definitely latch on to somebody first. You can take pictures of your friends and family, but kind of like I was saying earlier, don't just start charging people and you don't know how to take your camera off of automatic, So that's really the main thing. Just latch on to somebody, do your research. It's all out there. Like, you can literally spend a weekend on YouTube and be able to do some damage, on Monday, So if somebody's joining in first, I would definitely do that. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you look at the competition? So if you, from your words, it's so easy to get into the business. There are so many opportunities, resources to learn, a lot of freelance opportunities for anyone who just is passionate about it. So what do you think about the potential uprising competition in the future that may happen with, again, technology is becoming even more accessible, new learning opportunities? So how do you look at the competition? How it will affect your business?
Well, it's funny because there's actually two competitors when it comes to photography. There's like other photographers, and then there's iPhones. So, and I actually have a shirt. I don't have it on today, but I have a shirt that says "Photographers versus Smartphones" because it's like that, and it's cool. It's cool, but you're never gonna replace an actual camera. Like, you're not gonna do a wedding with your cell phone and taking these amazing photos with your cell phone. You're never gonna do that. So, but with that said, it just means you got to work harder, and you can't, like I said, you can't go out there and just shoot whatever. You got a brand new camera thinking you're one of the top dogs in the area. You gotta do your work. So with the competition of the other people, like here in Dallas, for example, I'm known in Dallas, but I'm not the most known. There's a lot of guys that have been here for years before me, but I make sure that the clients have a great experience with me when I'm there. I make them laugh. Like literally, I have not had a client that has not enjoyed their experience with me. I get my pictures back to them a lot faster than really anybody else here. I guarantee I work harder than anybody else here because I'm up at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning working on pictures, and I got to get back up at 6, 7. So I think with those things and then having quality pictures, I think that kind of helps me with any competition that's out there. So, and like I said, you got to keep learning. There's new tools. Like it seems like almost every couple months. So, yeah, you got to stay on it. Just like with anything, in basketball, LeBron's old, but he's still doing great work. And he's still practicing. So, you always got to keep on top of your game, and the competition will be there. But I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else here, but I am known and I do what I can. So, that is what it is.
So, a couple of more questions about exactly the business. So, how hard it was to actually start to go through the legal processes, maybe file the paperwork that you need to, get the equipment, maybe find connections, find the customer. How hard is it? Maybe like a little how much time did you spend at the beginning, and maybe a little your to-do list that you had, just for us to know how hard it is to start.
Yeah, so the LLC process, because here in Texas, it's pretty expensive, but you only pay once. I know in some states you have to pay like a reoccurring fee every year, but here I think it was like $350 or something like that. It was crazy. And so that process, because I didn't want to pay somebody to do that. I want to do it myself. There's several companies that you can pay that they'll take care of it for you, but it's like, get something to the thousands of dollars just to get an LLC. I'm like, there's no way. So the studying for that and I literally studied for it. I was watching videos and reading up on it, making sure I crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's, make sure I didn't miss any steps. So that way I can get this done and be an actual business, be noticed as that. Because that helps in a lot of different areas when you need, if you need like a loan or grant or something like that, you have to have an actual business. So that was actually kind of frustrating just because I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. And I'm kind of type of person where I'm like OCD in that kind of area. I want to make sure I've done everything by the book. I'm not breaking any laws or anything like that. I want to make sure I had that down pat. So doing that, and then I got my EIN, which that didn't cost anything, but that's a process as well. And then, like I said, here in Texas, also you can be certified as a minority business, whether you're a woman or a minority by your race or whatever it is. You can be certified for that. That costs like $500. And so that was a process as well to get all that information input into the system, and then you got to pay them, and you got to wait for the certification to come back. And it's just the legal part is something you really got to focus on and pay attention to, because if you miss a step, that can really bite you in the butt, later on down the line, especially in tax season and things like that. So, so in that aspect, the legal part, I got that taken care of, but that was a little bit of a frustration for me just because I want to make sure I'm doing it right. I didn't have somebody holding my hand. So there's that. Now the gear, talk about expensive. The gear, very expensive. But over the years, I've kind of, take the money that I've made from shoots and I'll buy something in that aspect. That's kind of how I did that. So I started off with I had 2 cameras. They always tell you to have 2 camera bodies in case you're on a paid shoot and one of your cameras malfunctions, you got a backup. So I had a real cheap little beginner camera, and then I bought another one off of eBay. And those were cool. Those are all right. But then I had to kind of graduate to more advanced cameras and lenses and things like that. So the cameras, the lenses, the backdrops, all those things cost a lot of money. So just as long as you're managing your business the right way, that'll take care of itself kind of while you're getting paid, going forward. So
Okay, and just to sum up, what is one butt saving tip that you can give us?
One what? Butt savings, I'm saying.
Butt saving tip on starting a business, yeah.
Um, that is funny. So I actually just wrote a book, kind of like a guide called Cream of the Crop Sensor. And the reason why I did that is because when I first started off, I was the guy that was like, "Oh, I can buy this. Like, this is cheap. I'm going to Amazon. I can buy this cheap thing, and I'll make it through. You know, this will work." And of course, stuff fell apart. I was embarrassed on a shoot one time, and I made up for it. But it was just like, stuff was falling apart because it was just cheap. And I always tell people now, like, if you see one of these cheap vinyl backdrops on Amazon or these cheap stands only cost like $12, don't do it. Like, make sure that you're getting quality stuff, and that way you're not wasting your money in the front end. Because I did that a lot. I had a bunch of gear that just was trash. I don't know how else to say it. And I ended up not using it. And I just look back like, man, I wish I would have just waited and got stuff that was of quality use that I could still last till today. And so that's really the main thing. Buy quality stuff. You can buy used stuff as well, but don't buy the first thing you see on Amazon. I buy stuff. I'm not down to Amazon because I love Amazon. They love me because I pay so much money. But yeah, just don't get the cheap stuff, and make sure you're getting quality gear because that stuff will last you and the cheap stuff won't. So that'll definitely save your butt, like you said. That'll definitely save your butt in the long run.
And just like while we're at those quick tips moment, just like to sum up from what I've been hearing so far, some of the points that I got from you, like I've got a lot more than that, but just like to sum up in three kind of words or tips. So to start a business, you need to have a strengths and focus on it. In order to discover strengths, think about your passions and think about if this passion is solving a problem for somebody, then you have this little core system to start a business. Is it right? Or maybe do you want to add something to it?
No, that's perfect. I always think that your passion is your strength because that's what you're most passionate about. That's what you're most leaning towards. So, kind of like I used to make music maybe about 10 years ago, and I would make remixes or whatever, and they would kind of be posted somewhere, and I'd win contests, whatever. And I thought that was it. I'm gonna make music. Like, this is great. But then I got my camera, and I was like, I forgot about all the stuff I did in high school and college, and just the love of it all. So that's what my passion is. I think that's where my strengths are. Like, I made my music was cool, but it hasn't taken me to the levels that photography has. So once you know what your strength is, it's always gonna be your passion. That's what you're passionate about. So go towards that and lean on that, and then just work on whatever the weaknesses that you have, and then the rest will take care of itself. So
And what to do if your passion is not in demand in a way? For example, if my passion is to collecting coins, how can I build a business off of that? What to do if there is some problem?
that's
Something
tough.
like
Yeah, that's a tough one. But I think I remember a Super Bowl commercial where they were showing you all these weird different groups on Facebook, and I think that's my main thing. Like, I'm not like a Facebook, so I mean, Facebook is cool. I'm not like paid by them or anything, but I think if you go to like get around people that are like you. So there's like I guarantee there's a coin collecting group on Facebook. There's got to be. So if that's what it is, I would go on there and just kind of be around those people. First of all, to keep up your self-esteem, because you got people around that are passionate about like you are, and then there's people in there that probably have ins and outs in that industry and know kind of what to do or where to go. Hey, there's a big coin convention coming up soon. I got an inside ticket for that. Get around people that are like-minded, and then that'll kind of help you going forward, I think. So.
okay, thank you. So okay, let's just move away from this topic a little bit. A little bit maybe weird question, maybe not. Let's just see how it goes. So do you have any quotation or that serves like a motto for yourself to keep you motivated, or maybe just to keep you in track of what you do?
Yes. Yes. Malcolm X looks backward on my screen, but if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's probably my favorite quote, and I think my dad got this for me a few years back. But yeah, I think we all have to, just in anything, photography or coin collecting, whatever it is, like, you just have to you gotta stand up for something. And there's some knuckleheads out here in Dallas that don't do things the right way, and I like to try to present myself as a good person and be around people that are good as well. So yeah, that's probably my favorite quote. It's Malcolm X, I believe. So yeah.
Okay, I got it. I got to script it down for myself. It's a really good one. I like it. Okay. So what is how much time do we have left? Okay, we have around 20 minutes left. So we'll soon open some room for questions if anybody has. But there's some other things that I want to ask you before we do so. So how hard? Well, first of all, how hard is to combine the actual full-time job with the part-time business?
It's it doesn't feel hard now. It's weird because when I first started the job I'm at now, I was really kind of first starting in photography. So I've been there that long. So early on, it was like I always wanted to go out and shoot and just do whatever. I was constantly trying to learn. So I was taking more of my time trying to learn, taking notes, listening, like I said, podcasts, YouTube videos, whatever it is. So I took most of my time that I would have to shoot now. I took that time to study and kind of learn up on the business and just the art of it all. So it was kind of tough then because I wasn't able to go out and shoot like I wanted to. But now that I know a lot more of what I'm doing, I've done shoots at work. I've done headshots for coworkers. I've done shoots for other people on the garage of the job that I work at. So it's not hard now, but just because I'm passionate about it, kind of like we were talking about earlier, I can stay up hours doing this stuff, editing pictures or just looking at pictures or reading books on photography. I'm just a nerd that way. I love this stuff. So it's not really that hard for me. Just having the time to do it, that's really what I want more of. Making sure I have time with my family, my son and my wife, and then also having time for this as well. And I feel like I'm balancing it pretty well right now. So.
What do you have any tricks for time management and most importantly stress management? I'm pretty stressed with my school and my job. I can't imagine you being like all around there just with your clients, and the other side you have a full-time job. So how do you manage that?
Yeah, I finally broke down and bought myself a little whiteboard for my for my office because stuff was getting crazy, especially towards the holidays last year. I think just being organized is really the main thing. What they say, you can make time for anything if you're passionate about it. So I literally just have to, make a note on there. I put it on my little calendar on my phone and just go from there. Like it feels like second nature to me now. So I guess when I look at it from the outside looking in, it probably does look a little crazy because, like I said, I got a son who's very active. Love him to death, but he needs your attention right now. Like you got it, and I'd love to do that for him. And I got my wife. I got to make sure I'm giving quality time to her as well. And then I got the job, which takes me, a good 8-9 hours of the day, and sometimes it takes me a little bit later into the day, which would be cutting into either my family time or a time to shoot. So I don't know. I feel like I manage it well now. I don't know what else to say, I guess, but tricks would be just be organized and manage your time wisely by being organized. I write stuff down to the nearest minute. If it's going to be a half hour in between here and there, maybe I can read something here, or maybe I can take a quick shot and save it for later to edit or something like that. So yeah, just get organized. I feel like when I got the little cheap whiteboard in my office, that like just opened everything up for me. It sounds simple, but just writing it down. I'm constantly looking at it when I'm at work, from home on my full-time job. Like, okay, I got to shoot this weekend. I got to shoot, big shoot coming up next month. I got this and that, and that just keeps it open for me. So, and then also I have a booking calendar too. So when people go to my site, they can book me, but they can't book me on certain days because I might have time off or I'll take a day off, so I'm not getting booked and I can spend time with my family. So, yeah, there's ways to do it. It's kind of tough, but there's ways to do it.
Thank you for that. Like you're so busy, what do you do for relax? Especially when your passion and your hobby is your business. So what do you actually do in your free time?
That is funny. So actually I'm here in the room. We bought this house a couple years ago. My wife had it has a media room in it because in Texas they don't really have basements. And I don't know if they have that in Washington or not, but in Texas they don't have basements. So they kind of give you a media room, so it's like a room where you just watch movies. So I have a pretty big screen in here, so I'm like a big movie guy, and so I I got into Marvel a couple years ago, so that's like my thing. Like WandaVision is everything right now. Um, so yeah, I really love watching movies and football, things like that. So if I have a couple hours to do that, I'm good.
Any movie recommendations for us? Maybe.
Not so well. Okay, my wife and I just binged this show on Showtime. You guys ever watch Breaking Bad? You ever watch Breaking Bad? Anybody? I don't know. Sure or not.
I've heard
It was a
about
show.
it.
Okay, it was a show on AMC. Basically, it was about this high school chemistry teacher, and he ended up getting cancer, and he wasn't making much money, so he's trying to figure out what to do. And so, long story short, he starts making meth and he becomes a big guy in his town, and then it's a crazy show. It's a great show. So that guy who does that, he wrote this show and he also acts in it. So it's almost like kind of the same thing, but it's in the legal and justice system. It's called Your Honor. It's on Showtime. It's only 10 episodes. It's like a limited series. So if you love television, actually cinematically, it looks really cool too, like how they shot it. That's another reason why I like it. That I'm always looking at how, I guess that's why I like movies so much. So I look at how people are shooting stuff. It also looks good that way. So it's a great show. Movie wise, gosh, I can't even think of. I've been watching a lot of shows and a lot of WandaVision, so I'm not sure.
It's okay. Well, thank you for this one. I'll check it out sometime. I heard about Breaking Bad, and I remember I watched a couple of episodes when I was in guests, like at my brother's. It's a really good show, so I'll search up Your Honor too.
Okay.
And the last question before we open the room for student question is, how do you see your goals? Like, how do you see your end goal? What should you have or what should happen for you to feel fulfilled, that your goals will be fulfilled, that you'll be happy with what you've done, and you'll be like, okay, now I can retire? Or
Yeah, that's the funny thing about. I'll probably be pretty old if I retire from this, because I can still shoot as long as the young kids would like it, I guess, when I get old. But I think my ultimate goal would to be full time, have my own studio, like my own studio, to where, and I would set it up kind of the way I want it, and then to be a Nikon ambassador. And I was named the Nikon Z Creator this past year, and I was listed on their 20 Inspiring Creators, which was I freaking blew my mind. I was like, what in the world? But they named me at that last year. And so I'm close, but I would love to be a Nikon ambassador. Like being sponsored by one of the camera gears that you own and that you use. That's kind of like a main goal for a lot of photographers. So I don't think I'm there yet, but that's my end goal. So if I can kind of have those three things all in one, that would be perfect. So.
okay, thank you so much, Darrell. Thank you so much for giving us all this information. Just truly wish you all the best luck in achieving this goal, and just good luck in everything you do. And so right now, students, just feel free to ask any questions you have. It's been a wonderful meeting. I enjoyed it a lot. I made some notes, so hopefully everybody did that too. So feel free to ask your question, guys.
So I have a question for you, Darrell. So my question is, how did opening your business change you as a person? So like, how did it change your personal path, your personal goals, and what did you learn throughout the way? So what's like one main thing that you learned personally throughout the way?
It really made me look at things. Let me see how to say this. So, okay, so like I mentioned before, there's some knuckleheads out here in Dallas that are photographers that they don't do things the wrong way, and I'll just leave it at that. So I look at it as not to be associated with people just because that's the right thing to do. You don't want to be associated with bad people, but looking at it from a business aspect as well, like I have to think about these things now. Like I go to workshops and there's like a ton of photographers there shooting. I have to kind of look at who's here and what could happen to not only my name, but the name of my business and how that would associate with that. So that's probably the main thing, is just making sure that I'm respected for what I do and not dismissed because of something that somebody associated with me with, because I was with, a photographer that is known for something, and I was there, maybe almost just like I supported that or something like that. So I got to make sure that I have to look at things for myself and for the business. And that's just another way of kind of looking at things going forward. Because it's not just me, and I guess it is just me and my business, but it's not just me, it's the business as well that I have to kind of pay attention to. So that's really one of the main things.
Thank you for answering my question.
Come on, guys. Any other questions? We have around 9 minutes left. We have something in the chat. So let me see. It's loading. It's loading. It's so slow. Okay. So Mateo asks, how has your relationship with photography changed over time? And has there been times where you've been unmotivated or in a creative slump? If so, how do you overcome this?
Yes. Yes, very much so. And that's something that happens a lot, I think, with creatives in general. But yeah, there's times where, especially when you're not getting calls for business and you're just kind of sitting around like, okay, I want to shoot something, but I don't have somebody to shoot. Normally, I can call up a model or something and go somewhere to shoot, get some cool looking images, or sometimes just nobody's available. And so here in the house, we have we got a spare room. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to do something different here. So I'm actually working like a little tutorial video. I'm trying to show people that you can shoot in like the tightest of spaces. Like you can still shoot in, you don't have to have a studio. So basically in the corner of the room, I've set up like a little area with one backdrop on one side of the corner and another one on the other. I got a chair from in the house somewhere, a little corner end table, and like a little plant. I just set it there. And it looks like a beautiful, like a little setting that you would find in a studio somewhere, but it's literally 25 square feet at max. So, 5 foot one way, 5 foot the other. So that is kind of built up a lot of creative juices in myself right now. So I have lighting on it. I have it all set up. I'm gonna take some shots probably this weekend, and just be able to show people like, hey, if you're stuck in a rut, everybody's got a corner in the house. I don't care if you have a house, apartment, wherever you live, there's a corner somewhere. So you should be able to shoot there. So I think that's really what's helped me. And just kind of thinking those things is another thing. And then like I did a couple months ago, there is a site that you can kind of look up like different places to go and shoot. Like, because there's places that people go to all the time. And nobody wants to do that. So there's one where you had to drive about an hour from here. And there's this really weird abandoned like spaceship. It sounds crazy, but it's like this, it's like from a movie or something that's in this really random town. It's this big, gigantic orange spaceship. And I guess it was in a movie or something that's just sitting there. And so I looked it up. It's like, oh, it's an hour away. So I called up a model. I was like, hey, let's go shoot here. And you could probably see it if you go on my Instagram page. But you go out there and it's just like people loved it. And so like, it got published. I actually submitted it to a Nikon contest. So if you guys are watching, I hope you pick me. But yeah, just kind of finding different ways to do things. I don't want to do everything that most people here are doing. I want to go outside the box. So I drove an hour and found a spaceship. So just doing things like that, it'll kind of help with any work that you get in. So.
Thank you for answering the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I'll just ask mine. I want to kind of keep them for like to the end, but I guess I'll just win some time for students to think about the questions. So it's off topic completely, but I recently don't have a lot of time to watch movies, but I thought I just really want to know your opinion. So the last new movies that I watched and I really liked they're all 2019 movies. So Ford versus Ferrari, 1917, and Parasites that I watched. So what do you think? Oh, and The Joker. What do you think about those 4 movies? Just your opinion.
I actually have not seen all of those. I saw Joker, and Joker, wow. I'm like I said, I'm more of a Marvel guy, but that movie was amazing. And like I said, cinematically, and I know 1917 has a really cool shot in there somewhere. I need to watch it just for that reason alone. But But Joker, just the way it was shot and the colors, and oh my God, I love that movie. It was a little dark, but yeah, that was a really good movie. So if anybody hasn't seen that one, definitely check that one out. Be prepared. Give you a warning first, but yeah, definitely watch that movie.
Yeah, I just like those movies, like specifically 1917 is how it was shot. It was something unique because it's all the story is just filmed this one day. The soldier wakes up at the end of the movie, he goes to sleep, but everything that happened throughout. And it feels like it's all been shot in one shot, the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, there is, like in regular movies, we like scene one, scene two, scene three. Here, no, it's just constantly you're following the main characters, you're seeing like through their emotions, and it's just so awesome.
Yeah.
And for some other Ford vs Ferrari, I just like the actors and the story, and I think it was based off of real stuff, so it's actually very interesting. And the Parasites is just something new. It's just very new plot that I have never seen, and I have never even imagined something like that. It's just mind blowing.
I'm watching that one pretty soon, so yeah.
Okay, and so another question from Matteo. So, what other genres of photography do you enjoy other than portraits?
Oh, okay. Probably outside of portraits, I would say I love to do a commercial, like product photography. I don't get to post a lot of it because it's paid for, and I have to kind of give it to the client. But shooting just like objects, I guess, or different, like the lady that I was talking about before, where I shot her soaps and her lotions and all those things. I love doing it. I have like a little setup in my room, a little box that I had just put stuff in, put different colors in there, and just take pictures. I love doing that stuff. And I did a product shoot for what was it, a Playtex Baby. For you guys are young, but whenever you have kids, you'll have a diaper genie. So they have like a portable one that you can take with you, like a small one. And so I took their campaign. I did that. That's 2 years ago now, and they're still using those pictures today. So just doing that type of stuff where it doesn't have to be people that I'm shooting, but different products and helping people kind of achieve their goal by getting it sold and posting it somewhere. That's really what I love to do as well.
So just in like in addition to the question, so from what I feel, you're more of a B2C guy to find like people, shoot the people, and maybe something for them, not like business to business where you try to contact the business, shoot some products for them, product advertisements. So for you, it's more like human interaction, you and the customer.
Yeah. Except for the Playtex one, Playtex Baby one. So that one, I'm on a site where they post like a bid out, and so they'll say, hey, for example, that one, it's like Playtex Baby's looking for a photographer. Here's the rate that they'll charge. They're going to look at your portfolio. Would you like to bid on this one? So I said, yeah, I'll bid on it. And I put my name, put my my name in the hat or whatever. And then they contacted me and say, hey, we'll can you shoot this job? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll shoot it. And so I didn't go straight to the business that way, but the company is kind of like the middleman that we use for that. So a lot of times my product shoots come that way, but the one I mentioned before about the soaps, that one kind of worked out because I shot the guy before. It was his aunt, but typically the product ones are through like a third party site that they kind of search out the companies that are looking for photographers and videographers. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay, guys, we have 1 minute left. So any other last minute questions? Come on, guys, please. If nobody will ask, I will ask. Okay. So my last question for today will be, for those people who just want to work with you, who maybe want to have you as their mentor, as you mentioned that you mentor some people, how can we contact you? How can we reach out to you? How can we connect to you?
So yeah, as far as like mentoring goes, you can find me on Instagram. It's it's Darrell Antone. It's DARRELL and then ANTONE. That's the name of my personal page, but you can also reach me on the Darrell Antone Photography Facebook page. And then on Instagram, I'm just Darrell Antone Photography on there. So I'm very active there, especially in my DMs. So if you want to reach out, I'll definitely get back with you and I'll review your photos if you have any questions about that. Anybody from here that reaches out to me, I'll even send you my guide for free that just came out, so you can take a look at that and learn from that as well. So I love to help people, and because I know people have helped me, so I want to kind of give back that way. So.
Okay, thank you so much for the meeting. Another, if you can, maybe if you can find the Instagram link, can you put it into the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Darrell, thank you so much for coming today. It was really awesome meeting. I enjoyed it a lot, made a lot of notes, and I just love it. I'm just on cloud nine. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Darrell. I learned so many things from you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you reaching out.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Have a great day. And for everyone, for the next week, we'll have our first data guy. So we'll have a data science, data analyst who works in one of the most major data analytics firms, who has a master's in data analytics, and who will come up, and talk about the importance of collecting, analyzing, and using data in your business. So see you all next week. And again, thank you, Darrell, so much for coming.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.